Alrighty, welcome to the historic episode 250 of Tokwa's Ask Us Anything. As usual, it's been a pretty busy news week. Tokwa is pleased to provide a third tranche of EV warning stickers to both the Osborne Park and O'Connor Tesla showrooms. These will be delivered tomorrow morning and be available at zero cost to any Tesla owner whose car doesn't currently have a sticker. This batch of 280 pairs of stickers will add to the 560 pairs already dispensed at Tesla showrooms, courtesy of Tokwa and its financial members. And that was this week's news. Indeed it was, and once again, welcome to our 250th episode, which actually the first one was aired on the way back on the 10th of June 2020 during very interesting times. And I guess, well, prophetically, we're also running the 250th episode in interesting times. As is traditional, if there is anyone who is new and is comfortable in doing so, please unmute and say hello. Or perhaps a little bit later on. Alrighty. Oh, and also I was sort of scratching around for a bit of news, but of course I'd forgotten, well, I'd put in the back of my mind that many cars in WA or Australia have gotten Grok. So I'm sure many people in the room have had some time to use it and either be amused, bemused, impressed, or whatever emotion they might have at some of the things it comes out with.
Or all
But
the above.
or all the above, especially when you say things like, "What direction am I traveling?" and it goes, "You are traveling northwest," and I go, "No, I'm actually traveling southeast." Oh, okay, and other things. But anyway, it's a start. Sadly, of course, you need to have a AMD Ryzen processor in your media control unit, which I think pegs that for most cars past 2022, if I am thinking correctly, roughly.
No, Harold, I've got a 21 with a Ryzen chip. I think it came in with the Model 3s sort of probably in the last quarter of 2021, maybe, or halfway
Right.
through 21.
Yep.
So, yeah,
Yep. So for
about
anyone who is curious, I mean, obviously, if you've gotten a software update, which is 2026 dot something something, and you don't have Grok, then obviously you can't have Grok. So I believe that. So for example, everyone, or probably everyone by now has gotten a software update. But for example, I know some people with a Model X and Model S that hasn't got that the Ryzen chip, the AMD chip. They did get the update. In fact, they were getting the earlier versions of the update, or earlier people to get an update. But of course, they don't have Grok because their hardware doesn't qualify. I presume that'll be something that Tesla will deal with in the medium term, so that those cars can also enjoy the Grok experience. Alrighty. Has anyone got any opening questions or
Just a quick
comments?
question, Harold. Do you need premium connectivity as well to use Grok? So not
Oh,
just having Grok, but
no, thanks, Steve.
Wi-Fi,
Yes,
or yeah.
actually, great point. So thanks for that. It actually says in the release notes that you either need premium connectivity or a Wi-Fi connection of your own. So thankfully, Tesla hasn't siloed it just to premium connectivity, which is great. Um, which I think is different to some of the media stuff. I think is it some of the media streaming services you need to have premium connectivity to work.
I think
I
you're right
think,
there.
but Grok you don't. You
Yep.
can just tether off your mobile phone or Starlink if you're carrying one with you, which people are increasingly doing in the bush.
When I was driving across the Nullarbor, just about every second or third vehicle, including the big trucks, had Starlink just sitting down on the dash. Yeah, that was great.
It's exploding. A couple of years ago, you saw an odd one, or you sort of saw a caravan that had one in a caravan park, mounted to the caravan. But I think people have rapidly learnt, especially with the Starlink minis, that you just chuck it on your dash. And yeah, it's funny because some trucks chuck it on their windscreen, which makes it sort of face almost horizontally, or should I say vertically,
Yep.
which is kind of interesting. But yeah,
Well, it's
like
got
you
a
say,
clear view of the sky though, so
I've
oh,
actually mounted mine in the roof of my truck because
hmm.
it's fiberglass. It just
yep,
works,
yep.
and it's on the
Yep.
inside of the truck.
I think
Now,
the big thing, Harold, also was that the Mini takes 12-volt DC, so you can carry your own battery. You don't need anything complex by way of
yep,
powering it.
that's
And
that's
it even works. I've got a 2000 milliamp hour battery, which is, I think, the legal limit for aeroplanes. And Starling Mini will work like 3 hours on that. So 2 to 3 hours.
yep.
So,
And the thing is, you can get you can just Google it or just search it in Amazon.com, well, .au, and you can just search for a three-way Starlink mini power adapter. So that will provide you a 12 volt, let's call it for us elderly people, the cigarette lighter output. You can use that. It'll also give you a USB-C, which as long as whatever the source of power from USB is, USB-C, it's a PD version, so that's the power delivery mode, which all the Junipers and the Highland Model 3s all can do. So you can just power it from one of the USB-C slots. And it also has the standard DC connector that Starlink themselves uses. So that, of course, if you wanted to, you could take the Starlink out of your car and use it on the mains power supply at wherever you're staying. If you can't park your car nearby. Now, obviously, speaking of Starlink, there was a great presentation. I think it was in Barcelona. It was the GSM. I can't remember the fourth digit. Maybe it was GSMA something conference, and Gwyn Shotwell, and I forget the gentleman who was her colleague. They were doing a presentation on Starlink's progress so far and their future progress. One thing that's very interesting, actually, Steve, you have you have a Telstra phone, I hope.
Correct? Yes.
Perfect. When you come back, can you please do a test?
I am
And it
back.
won't be. Oh, okay. Right. All right. Well, welcome back.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
well, anyone else who is there, if you are in a remote area where there is zero cell coverage, so zero mobile phone coverage of any kind, so if you're with Telstra, there's got to be nothing like Optus or whatever. So if there's anyone out there that can find a mobile black spot, a dead spot, but with fairly clear vision of the sky, please do the test, excuse me, of trying to make a phone call. Because in the presentation, they basically said that Starlink had now progressed from offering just direct to mobile phone text messages to now having voice and some data.
Wow.
And that would be interesting to find out whether that's actually happening in Australia yet.
Yeah, I was doing calls and texts by Wi-Fi
Yeah.
driving across, but that's not the same as what you're talking about. No.
No, we want to try the direct to home. Sorry, direct to handset. And of course, James, you got your hand up. Is that related or something different?
Mine was Grok, so keep talking about this.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, so the next thing they're going to do is they anticipate starting in about June or July next year, they're going to start launching the version. Actually, they call them version 2 satellites, but I think they're really version 3. But anyway, the much larger direct to handset Starlink satellites, and they will be launching 50 per launch, and they anticipate 24 launches to occur over a 6-month period. And at the end of 2027, they're going to have broadband coverage across the entire planet, where you can get data rates of up to 150 megabits per second, which obviously won't work if you're in Perth because there are far too many handsets, but it will certainly work in remote areas, and it'll form a very useful backup. Speaking of which, just another little aside, in case anyone's unaware, at midday on the 27th of July, there's going to be a nationwide emergency phone messaging system test where every single active mobile phone in the country at the same time will be sent an emergency test message, which will cause the phone to vibrate and also do a very annoying siren sort of sound and just indicate that this is a national test. So
Midday in the east or west?
west, 2 p.m. Eastern time on the 27th of July. So that'll be a nationwide test, and every single phone, whether you have a service or not, will if as long as it's turned on, will presumably work. So anyway, and Mike, are you doing a response to the communications thing or Grok or something else?
Communications thing, yes.
Yeah, okay. And then after that, we'll slot you in, James. Go, Mike.
So it sort of came up last week, so I've looked into it regarding which networks will connect to the Starlink network. So Optus joined late last year now because they weren't there for a while. It was delayed for whatever reason. So Telstra and Optus will. But
Yep.
Vodafone, I have heard, at least in Europe, have connected to Amazon's upcoming constellation.
Awesome.
Just so that if you might be interested in that for those that were. So that's just that on that note. So I shall
Cool.
talk about the other thing later.
No worries. All right, James, Grok.
Yeah, I was just talking about Grok because we've only got the hardware 3 car, so we're playing with Grok a lot. A lot of people may not know about the different variants of personalities. So, like, there's obviously the standard assistant. There's also a language tutor, therapist, storyteller, meditation, conspiracy, and they do actually do quite different things. Like, my wife was driving home and she said, "Oh, I've been learning Portuguese in the car on the way home." And I said, "You'd be better off listening to the therapist on the way home in your car." I learned some new Portuguese words after recommending that she should have a therapist.
Right.
Somebody's got it. I thought it
Yes.
was funny, James.
Yes. I still haven't got it, but I'm going to smile anyway. Yeah, very good. Yeah, there certainly are different modes, and you have in the car. You've got 3 different voices: 2 female and 1 male, and you've also got a couple of software settings. I think one is NSFW, which is not suitable for work.
Yeah.
So that's a more edgy sort of responses, depending on what you elicit or what you ask it. Like I said, personally, I guess the thing is, there's not a lot of point just using something just because it's there, unless you've got something useful to do with it. So I was kind of, what would you call it, fluffing around, trying to, I'd heard that, you could get it to be a tour guide. So I sort of said I was down at Margaret River on the weekend and went towards Augusta and said, along this route, can you highlight any historical locations and factoids or whatever? And in the end, all it really did was give me a 2-sentence reply saying, there are historic this and that, and carry trees or whatever. And then that was the end of it. Like it wouldn't sort of keep on going. Like it wasn't really a tour guide. But obviously these features will eventually mature and come as Tesla and XAI or SpaceX AI improve what they're doing.
The paid version?
No, this is in the car. This is what comes with the car. So
Right.
I actually logged in with my credentials, and I do have Super Grok on.
Okay.
I don't have the heavy, but I've got like on my X. What when I on my PC when I go to or use the Grok app, I've got that because I'm on a premium subscription of X. I can get Grok 4.2, and you get
So you logged in
your heavy
on the
thinking,
car.
not heavy. It's and yeah. So when you
Yeah, I
actually
know what you're talking about.
log in
Yeah.
on your car, I just scanned a QR code on the screen, and then that came up on my Grok app, so it knows it's me. But I
Right.
don't know whether that gives me extra privileges at the moment
Well,
over
that's what
anyone
I was
else.
wondering because, yeah, when you were saying you were going down the coast, I thought it would have tried to log or keep a track of where you were, but the free version, so to speak, I didn't think would do that. That's why I was thinking if you logged in, it might. But if you've done
Yeah,
that, not doing it, well,
No, it
no,
doesn't do that. I
maybe
spent
it's
some
an
time.
update.
I spent some time talking to it and asking. It's isolated. It says doesn't when you speak to the Grok in the car, it says can I interact with my account? It says no. It's independent. It's isolated sandbox so that questions asked or things done in the Grok app on my phone or computer are not correlated across. However, it does have persistence across the car. When I move from one of my Teslas to the other Tesla, my Grok is so I got out of the Y, got into the 3, and said, "Hey, yesterday we're talking about this. Can you just recap it?" It knew about the conversation, whereas when I went to my computer, even though I logged in the same user account in Grok, it doesn't know about it. It was very clear it was isolated. It can't get any live telemetry from your car, so it doesn't know, and it doesn't know your location. You can tell it where you are, and it can't. I said, how does that work with your navigation? Because you can do navigation. It can find out where you are, but it can't do your live telemetry. Because I was saying, hey, how much do I need to slow down to make this? And it said, you'll have to tell me what is your current wattage usage. So I think it's very limited. It can get very
Yeah,
basic
well,
location. Yeah.
I couldn't change the air conditioning settings or anything like that, but it would give me my watt hours per kilometer and range till empty. But that was about it. Nothing else.
Yep. Well, I tried to get it to play a Spotify playlist or to get me a playlist. I think I said 90s dance music or something like that. And what it basically did was it said, sure, if you go to spotify.com or if you go to your Spotify app and enter in spotify.com/3WXA, and it just did this long, it was basically a playlist code, and enter that into your car. And it's like, you were talking so quickly, I could never possibly have done that. And I said, can't you just send that straight to Spotify? And it said no. So unfortunately, even though I thought it implied that you can get it to play music, you sort of can't.
And I also found that only the assistant Aria will do stuff in your car. Everything else
Yep.
ignores it.
Yep. So, and to do that, you can set Grok as being active if you click on the Grok in your launcher app, or your app launcher, sorry. You can have it sort of running in the background the whole time. It obviously doesn't work if you've got an audio device running. So if you're listening to the radio or music or whatever, that it won't work or won't listen. It can't listen. What was the point of that?
Or like a two-way running in the background.
But you
static
can
noise.
you can use a scroll wheel. So you can do to get Grok at any time without having to go to the app launcher. You can do a long button press on the scroll wheel for Grok, or a short button press.
Right scroll wheel.
Right scroll wheel. A short press for the
It's
normal.
long press on the microphone.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah. So
long
in the
press.
AI
sorry,
forecast,
microphone.
it's
Yeah.
microphone. In the older ones, it's the right scroll wheel.
Yeah, yeah. So you can then you either do a short press for the standard. So does someone say Aria? Is that what it's now being called?
Yeah,
This is the
Aria.
car, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
Aria's assistant.
Yeah. Or you can do a long press for Grok and get a Grok response. But again, Grok can't do much to control your car. It obviously can. I did ask it to to navigate to some points of interest or whatever, and it can definitely affect. It can search for things. Oh, that's right. We're asking for a restaurant to have lunch or something, and it sort of came up with a list very quickly. But I'm not sure whether its suggestions were grok based or whether it basically effectively entered in lunch or restaurants in your search bar of your navigate system, because that sort of is where it got the responses and showed them, and then it said, you can pick this one or that one or whatever. So look,
I used it last night. I had a fishing club meeting. I said, navigate to the Swan Canoe Club. And by the way, can you find me some casual dining close to that? And it did all that. And I was driving this today, and it was and navigated. And full self-driving just drove me there. I mean, we're living in the future now. I love it. And I'm driving up to a mate's place today. I'm asking it some questions about some of the electronics I'm doing and why it wasn't working. It's just brilliant. It's just brilliant. And I'll be dead
You
sore
can actually-
and have fun before I die.
Yeah.
Put
One
him
thing I
on not
found it
safe.
did. Sorry.
Put
Sorry,
him on
Cameron.
not safe for work and unhinged, and tell him to drop the nice guy act to go even harder and sit back and hold on for dear life.
And then put it onto Grok Lazy, and yeah, that nearly drives you up the wall, that fella.
all right.
One thing
Well,
I
it can't be
found,
bothered
Harold-
answing questions.
Oh, hang
So
on.
I've
Yeah.
noticed, but with
Be
mine, I
mindful.
don't know if everybody else is doing the same. If you want him to control the navigation, he'll only do it on assistant. It won't do it on unhinged and the other ones.
Hmm.
So I don't know. Is
Probably a good
everyone's
thing.
like that, Harold? I was going to ask. Is there something wrong with mine, or that's how it is?
No, it's only Aria, the first one, that'll do it, that I found.
Copy.
All the others just, they say we can't do that.
Cell does it,
I
but
don't
he's
think it's- Sorry,
I'm-
Cameron. I don't think it's actually the name. It's the It's the title, because I don't have Aria. I have some other, the bloke,
Ah, right.
whatever his name was. So as Damo was saying, you've got the types of things like unhinged, assistant, whatever. So it'll work on
Therapist.
assistant, probably therapist. Yes, thanks. So, but you can change the voice is the so because
Yes.
we have it on a bloke. I have it on a bloke, so I don't get confused with the normal navigation speak, which is a girl.
Right.
Makes
I have it on
sense.
the right hand female voice, which I must admit is very calming voice. Mark, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was just saying that if you use the normal assistant, normal just a single press on the microphone, I cannot get it to direct me to Joondalup, the charges at Joondalup Lakeside Shopping Centre. But with Grok, it actually gives you the option for the underground car park underneath Maya, and that just isn't available on the other one at all. So some navigation, Grok is much better for that type of thing.
Right. Awesome. Yeah, that's cool. Does it actually navigate underground though? It probably can't.
I don't know if it actually goes underground because I tend to flick it off as I go into a car park because it's still a bit dodgy at times.
Yep. Yep, indeed. Oh, very good. Well, we are like Richard, you were saying, we are driving the future, and the world is just getting more and more interesting with all the gadgets and stuff that's going on. And obviously, this is a transformative year for Tesla. So, just wait till, our cars really can drive us with us not paying attention, legally not paying attention, which is going to be even better. But, it's just a matter of time. Mike, you got your hand up.
Yeah, so just a couple of comments going back to Starlink. So the Starlink 2 or 3 or whatever version you want to call it, it's going to be dependent on Starship to get that number of these larger units up. And
That's
that
right.
number of launches, most of us in the rocket fraternity are skeptical about the number of launches. Yes, there will be some, but they're talking like, one a week or even one a day.
No, so the quote of 1,200 for their new constellation, which will be a completion of an initial constellation. After that, it will be just making it bigger and better. It will require 1,200 satellites.
Yep.
Each Starship launch will hold 50, so that's 24 launches, which beds it at one launch per week cadence over 6 months perfectly. And really, one launch a week is not arduous. And well, let's face it,
If it
did anyone
works.
believe 10 years ago that SpaceX would be doing nearly multiple launches a week of Falcon 9? Multiple,
Yes. Well,
you know.
and that's true, except last year we basically had 8 months of failures in Starship, right? So
Indeed, yes.
this is a completely new version, and they are taking it easier.
Well, what I liked was the fact that Gwyn Shotwell is a very stabilizing and probably one of the best CEOs of any company anywhere. And she's the only person famously that you basically can say no to Elon. And if she says starting, in the middle of next year, really, that's a long time away. I mean, I know rockets are hard, but that's more than 12 months away. That's nearly a year and a half at a one week cadence.
Yes.
And they could do disposable rockets, so it would probably still be economically viable to dispose of some starships. I mean, most of them they've all been disposed of so far, deliberately and some not deliberately. But yeah, I'm very confident that will occur because look at how outlandish it was in 2014 when SpaceX declared that they were going to surround the Earth with internet universally.
Yeah.
And now they've
I
crossed
following
10
some
million
the other
customers.
day, and Falcon is just several orders of magnitude easier than Starship. So
Yes.
and we just at a juncture at the moment where we've effectively got a new everything starting trials now. We've got new engines, new booster, new ship. Anyway, let's not go too far down that track. So I'm sure it'll happen, but as we always say, it'll just be late.
Yeah, exactly. So, and at the moment you've got the version 2 minis, which are providing direct to unmodified mobile phone handset, text, data, voice, and video calling today. So again, if there is anyone out there that finds themselves in a black spot, please do, and you'll see, because you'll actually look at where you normally have Telstra, and it'll say Telstra Sat, or it'll say Telstra SpaceX on one side, and it might show the satellite symbol on the right-hand side where your signal strength is. And if you do see that, please do try and make a phone call to see if it works. And also, they said that you can use your X feed and you can use WhatsApp and a couple of other apps for some light data use. So that would be interesting to find out if it's being implemented yet in Australia. Mark, you got your hand up.
Yeah, just going back to Grok for a second. I downloaded on mine probably about the second day it was available, but I've had a bit of fun with it along the way. One of the things it doesn't necessarily like is Karen Yup, as it says. But if you go and try and talk to it, of course, it's never going to get there. So just a couple of tips for people that may have a little bit of difficulty getting there. From a Grok point of view was that I asked it where the nearest Myers were, and then basically I said I wanted to go to the Myer that was that was in the northern suburbs of Perth, and that there was a Tesla supercharger, and it directed me straight to the point. So sometimes going around the question a little bit will get you to the same point, and likewise with I went to an address in Atwell and it would never get it 3 times. I tried 3 times, it failed. So I said, I want to go, instead of saying the address straight out, I said, I want to go to Atwell and the address is, and at that point, it then decided it was going to play nicely at that point. So just a couple of tips for those people who may have difficulties if you're trying to put an address in and it doesn't recognize it, is maybe attack it from a different direction. Having said that, I was out with the wife the other night. Did started to talk to Grok to get navigation to an address. She started talking immediately after I'd finished talking, and of course, then Grok started having a conversation with her. And I said, "That's really quite annoying that you're actually talking to the Grok as it's trying to do something for me." And at that point, it decided it was going to give me marriage counselling advice. When I said I didn't want that, it directed me to the nearest marriage counsellor 2.3 kilometres away. So, so there's been some rather funny occurrences that have gone on since I've had it. But the ability to switch at a moment's notice your intermediate destinations is just absolutely fantastic. So it's actually I must admit I was very how would I say, probably quite I didn't really care.
Yeah,
But to be
nonplussed.
quite
Yeah.
honest, it's actually really been quite a lot of fun.
And anyone who's just Google Scottish elevator on YouTube, or just
Oh,
Google
yes.
Scottish elevator, and I'm not going to put it on, but that's just a classic when I want to go to floor 11. And yes, voice commands can be and voice recognition can be challenging. But no, there's some good tips there. Very good. Oh, I guess the only thing that's a shame is what would be nice is if Grok gives you some good information. It'd be great if you could then forward it to some means of you having that, such as if it could email it to you or text it to you, like the response, so you could have it written down or have it in writing would be really handy. So I guess that would be a great future feature, enhancement feature.
I guess it's only agentic when it's actually doing the navigation in the car at the moment, but it's only a matter of
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. So because obviously, it could just, for example, email a link to that conversation or that whatever output. And the thing is, Tesla knows what your email address is because there's always one attached to your Tesla account. So obviously, it could do something like that. But
Harold, there is it does keep history in your Grok account. You can't access it through the car, but if you go into your conversation history, it will be
but
there.
it's
Yeah.
it's this decoupled. So it's already been explained that the Grok that is on the car there's a Chinese wall between that and any Grok account you actually have yourself. So there's no
True.
link.
True, but it's not completely Chinese wall because it does keep the conversation history. So try it. So because what I did is I went into my history on my account and I could see the conversations I had with it in the car. So it did keep that that history log of conversations.
Right. I'm just going to check that myself.
When you logged into the account, Pete,
Say again, Damo. Say again.
were you logged into the account?
Yes, Greg. You have to be
Okay.
signed in. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it on my mobile, and I've got all the history from earlier on tonight when I was navigating.
Yeah. The proviso is you've got to be signed in. So guest accounts don't keep conversation history even on the app in the phone.
Well, that's good.
Oh, sorry, I take that all back. There it is there. Yeah, okay. Western Australia number plate D Council. Yeah, right. Okay. Cool. Right, that's cool. Excellent. All right. Sorry about that. I'll take it back. So that means I'm going to get my playlist and I can, yes, search Spotify for 90s dance list. Yeah, okay. Cool.
So
Good.
can I just clarify the navigation part? Because maybe we were making a mistake. So when we said to Grok, can you go somewhere? So it quite rightly put that into the navigation and off we went. But it didn't do speak turn by turn like the normal navigation does. And it told me that it couldn't do that unless I say beforehand approaching, do I turn? I had to keep prompting it for the turns. So we just switched it off, and then the normal navigation just comes back on. Then is that correct?
Yes, so I think it was James was saying that Grok said it doesn't have telemetry of your current location. So it doesn't.
Seemed to know something though. This is what was weird about it.
Yeah.
It seemed to know roughly where we were.
Yeah, actually, it's funny that you say that because I was asking it what direction we were traveling,
Yes.
and it got the direction wrong. But then when I corrected it and said, no, we're actually traveling southwest or something, it said, oh, yeah, and you're on the something highway, I think it was the Bustle Highway, and said, you're 1.2 kilometers from a roundabout. And it said, turn left at the roundabout. I said, actually, you've got to go straight through the roundabout. And it said, oh, yes, you do. But it was very interesting that it knew there was a roundabout ahead. And I thought,
Yes.
so I think you're right, Mike. It's sort of like, in one
Something
sense, it
that
might not
hadn't
get
quite
full
figured it out.
telemetry, but it's got something, it's got enough to know something. And it wasn't just guessing. So I don't quite know how that worked. Unless,
I actually asked Grok how it knows where, like, does it know where it is geographically? And it said, no, I can't tell you where I am, like, specifically, even though there's an option under settings to enable precise location. Even if you enable that, I asked it to tell me exactly where I was, and it couldn't. But it said that, it could tell me roughly where I was. So it always gets the suburb, like from my experience at least, it always gets the suburb right. And it knows sort of seems like it knows within a kilometre or 2 or 3 where it is, but not precisely.
yeah,
We'll have to
right.
give it
So
some more testing, I think.
yeah, so I've just brought up the conversation. I said, which direction are we traveling? And it said, we're heading northeast on Bustle Highway from Margaret River, about 49 kilometres to your destination. First turn is left at the roundabout onto Bustle Highway in 1 kilometre. And I said, actually, Grok, we're travelling southeast. And it said, got it, southeast on Bustle Highway towards Augusta then, about 48 kilometres away. Left at the roundabout in 700 metres to stay on track. Obviously, it's reduced because we're travelling. And that was correct, except we weren't going left. I go, actually, we're not going left at the roundabout to stay on track. We need to go straight through the roundabout. And it says, straight through the roundabout ahead to continue southeast on Bustle Highway, then follow at 47 kilometres to destination. You're right, my error. Enjoy the Carry and Chewett forests along the way. Was it
that's
your
typical
first
Grok.
time?
It always agrees with you when it tells you that when you tell it it's wrong. It always agrees with you, and it's so sycophantic it makes me puke.
Yes, and then I said, what is your? It's interpreted. What is your first time being a tour guide? I think I meant to say, is this your first time being a tour guide? And it said, this is my first time guiding along Bustle Highway, but I've got the Southwest's tails ready. Straight through the roundabout now keeps us on track southeast. So yeah, who really knows? It could be a little bit of Eliza sort of sneaking in there, where it kind of makes you think that it's correcting itself, but it might just be, like you say, might just be agreeing with you in some respects. But clearly, it has got some indication of navigation position in some sense, whatever that is.
It's weird.
But no doubt it'll incrementally get better and better. It's certainly not bad as a first blush. And I figure who it was that mentioned. Oh, I think it was James about learning a language. I mean, it's just this AI stuff. What a great place if you're on a long road trip to practice learning some conversational whatever language if you're into a new language or something. To use your time. It's I mean, one thing I don't know if anyone can try, or sort of worth giving it a go, is seeing if it can read a newspaper or effectively like an online, journal or something, because that could be useful too, and all sorts of things.
Just with the interactions and everything, it begs the question: is there any limit to the number of tokens? So, if each conversation or each segment of a conversation is a token, are we getting to the point where if you're on an X account with no payment, whether there's a limit to the number of tokens. Has anyone reached that?
I guess it also goes to the point of when you've got premium connectivity, that's costing us, is it roughly $15 a month? Is there a limit to how many Netflix streaming videos and other things, the data that you can pull down? I guess there's notionally a limit, but maybe it's practically not. And yeah, who's paying for all of these tokens and the energy that's required to produce them?
Mm.
There's definitely a limit as a guest, of course.
Yes. Yep, absolutely. Colin, got a hand up.
Hey, I'm sorry, I've just joined, so I missed on the conversation, but I assume everyone's sharing funny stories about conversations with Grok.
Yeah, go on.
My first one was a doozy. I asked it to talk me through its capabilities in my Tesla, and it started telling me things I could do on a holiday in Montezuma. And then I said, no, I was asking about in my Tesla, and it said, your Tesla doesn't have a Montezuma mode. I was like, forget Montezuma. That was.
Were you in unhinged mode or what? Which
No,
mode did
just
you
the
select?
assistant.
Standard.
It obviously just didn't, the way I said in my Tesla, it just misinterpreted it and then it just ran with it.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, my Tesla doesn't have Montezuma mode, which was news to me.
No doubt disappointing as well.
Has a zoomy mode, but not Montezuma mode.
Indeed. Alrighty. Well, obviously, I mean, last week in the news, we had the news item that the Model YL had been approved for or added to the Rover or the Department of Transport approval list, vehicle type descriptor list. But obviously, we haven't had the actual order page open up for it yet. So perhaps clearly that's going to be something that's going to be happening over the next few weeks. Possibly it might dribble into the next quarter. I mean, is there anyone in the room that either has an order or knows someone who has a pending order and is awaiting delivery this month for any new cars? Because that could be an indication as to when Tesla will possibly put the Model YL up for purchase. You know, with the view of not wanting people to cancel their existing orders if it came up a bit too early.
What car, Harold?
Anything Model Y, Model 3.
I've got a friend picking one up next week. It's a Model 3 Performance.
Yeah, right. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So
He's waiting. It's in transit to Pink Bar, Brisbane. So.
Yes. Right. Yes. Yep. Cool. So obviously there's still ships, deliveries being made this quarter, that have obviously been on ships for a few weeks. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see when they bring out the YL, because the thing is, everyone knows it's been approved. So it's really just a matter of timing.
It'll be after March 31st because anyone with a YL will be subscription based. And it's going to go off. So I'm pretty sure Elon wants them all under his belt.
Yeah, I mean, anything that is delivered after
April 1st, sorry.
Yeah. Anything that's ordered. Yeah, right. No, maybe they are going to wait till the 1st of April or thereafter. Yeah, that's plausible. Because I think if you were to buy FSD as part of your order and it didn't arrive until after the 31st of March, I think that's still included in your order, in your purchase order, as a outright FSD purchase, which you ordinarily wouldn't do because you end up adding to your stamp duty burden. And depending on the price of the car, it may also go into the modified luxury car tax threshold because it is $10,100. But of course, if that means the difference between buying it outright and if that's what you want to do, then that's what you have to do, unless Tesla can guarantee delivery before the end of this month, for you to be able to receive it and then while you're sitting in the car in the delivery center, then you can buy it online and not have to pay stamp duty and LCT. Alrighty. Any other questions or comments?
Has anyone heard any mentions at all about the YL possibly coming in any other seat configurations, like a 5-seat version? Because I'd be very interested in a YL, but with the standard 5 seats. So effectively, you just get more cargo space inside. Because I got 3 kids, so if I put 3 kids into the 6-seater, I'm using up half the boot every time. So it's actually much worse than the standard 5-seat Y. But I'd be very keen on a 5-seat bigger version.
I wonder if you could pull out that third row. Maybe just look on YouTube, see if anyone in the US.
But I'd still need a middle seat in the middle row.
They're not in the US,
Oh,
Pete.
gotcha. Yes. Sorry. No, in China. Sorry. Yeah. You're right. So you're still down a seat. Gotcha. So maybe you could. Yeah, I wonder if you could pull out the captain's chairs. But
I did see a thing that the 7-seater has just been released in Europe.
Yes,
I think it's.
But it's not the L. It's not the L.
Yeah, that's
The
the same.
7-seater. The
That's the same
7-seater in
7 they
Europe.
have in the States, which is
That's right.
the third row is tiny.
Yes.
Is it possible to get the rear workings of the car and import it to Australia? Then you'd have to go through all that approvals and stuff to get it changed, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I'd much prefer if they just make a 5-seat version that I can just buy. But yeah, I haven't heard any mentions of it, so I was just curious if anyone had seen anything like that.
No. And the problem is it's more than possible that the mounting configuration could be subtly different, although maybe not. For the captain's chairs, that is. Because I think on your normal bench seat, there's four points of contact. So 2 outer and there's 4 outer points, front and rear, left and right, for the bench seat. But for the captain's seats, I presume they are their own bucket seats effectively. So there might be additional mounting points for the captain's chairs, but maybe the outer mounting points are compatible with a normal bench seat. So maybe you could do that. Maybe it's possible. Again, that'd be something that you'd have to look at, do some research on Chinese websites or whatever, or YouTube, to see if anyone in China, because currently there have only been the only people that can get it so far are those in China, I think. There's no other external market that's got the Model YL.
I believe there's air conditioning fed to them chairs as well, and in the pillars in the back, like the Model X.
So say again, Cameron?
The air conditioning is vented to the captain's chairs as well, in the perforation to the seats, as well as the walls into the rear, like the Model X.
Oh, okay. I didn't realise that. They definitely have in the C pillar A, B, C. I guess it's the C pillar. It's in the C pillar they've got ventilation for the rear seats, the third row.
Yeah, it'd come out roughly where your face would be if you're a child, I guess. In the back row.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, seats are very easy to get a hold of because a lot of Teslas are being wrecked, and particularly if they are black seats, you can get them for almost nothing. So it wouldn't take too long for someone to do the experiment. If you're handy and you just whip out the captain's seats once they arrive, and then just try and see if the bench seat will fit. And the thing is, there are no airbags involved in the seats, unlike the front seats. I think it's the passenger seat, or is it the driver's seat that's got an airbag in the bolster? So yeah, it's certainly possible. You probably have to mess around though with the wiring loom, because you've got the motorized armrests which obviously a bench seat wouldn't have. So there might be a bit of faffing around there to make it work without the car complaining that something's not working, like not
And
plugged in.
perhaps the weight sensors in the seats and things. Obviously, there'd be
Yeah.
some electrical connections for that.
Yeah, so you'd effectively, the easiest way would be if some third-party provider out of China did like an adapter kit, whereby you could plug an adapter loom so that you could plug your bench seat into the car and make it look much like a captain's chair or something like that. Or so it still has its basic functions.
Is the YL wider than the normal Y, or is it just longer?
Don't think so, just longer.
Just
Pretty
longer.
sure it's just longer. It's about a foot longer.
Yeah.
So for
Yeah.
people, sort of and the way they make it longer is it's a little bit like the Ford Falcons and Fairlanes. They basically have more distance behind the wheel arch. So, or should I say, from the rear door, you basically have an extra, roughly about a foot or 30 centimeters of extra length in the entire car.
Yeah. So
And
the
I think,
interesting thing is if the width is no different, then you presume the bench seat would at least roughly fit. If it's no wider,
yeah,
if the car itself is wider, it might start messing with various things. But
yep, yep.
yeah, I'll keep pestering Tesla to make a 5-seat version, but I was
Well, I know the Europeans are very much disappointed that there is a 7-seat version of the Model Y, and they can't get the YL in
Yeah.
Europe. So I know they're definitely very disappointed
Was
about
there
that.
somewhere was it the UK or something that got approval for the YL recently as well? I thought I remembered hearing something in that part of the world. It
Not
was like it was
sure.
like an approval similar to what was here. Like it hasn't been released or anything, but
I think it was Europe.
Not sure. Not sure. Oh, and speaking of approvals, Elon Musk has said in an interview that he expects to get approval for FSD supervised in the Netherlands on the
20th.
20th of March, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
20th of March. Yep. So that's certainly going to be interesting if that holds true. So we'll have to see what happens.
It's almost 2 weeks away, Harold. Be careful.
Yes, it is nearly 2 weeks. But that's what he said he was told by the regulator. So I presume that would probably coincide with some meeting or something where they have to ratify the decision or whatever it is, or formalize it. Perhaps and that maybe that falls on a certain meeting date or something. But yeah, that'll be interesting. James, you got a hand up.
I'm back. I've been listening to you, but I've been in the car playing with Grok.
Ah, right, cool. All right, no worries.
So I had on mute because I was talking to the car. The account sharing across only works if you're signed in with an X account. I was signed into Grok in the car and Grok on my device with just a Gmail account. So I had to switch it to my X account on both devices. And now all the chats I've just had in the car just then are here. But
Yes.
obviously the
Yep.
old accounts are gone. And so, yeah, it's
Oh,
only
yes.
an X account sign in that gives that persistence, even though mine was a full Grok account using Gmail, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't
Yes.
have. So I don't have X, and I just checked off this conversation. I could see the conversations on my phone for when I used it in the car.
Yeah, Des, did you have an account before? in
Yes,
Grok?
yeah, and I fumbled my way through the sign in, and it signed in with my phone.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe
You
that
probably
was
created an X. I think.
sign in. Yeah,
I think when you go to X and just create a new account, it's by
Yeah.
default an X account, a Grok account.
yeah,
Whereas I brought across an existing account from somewhere else.
yeah. No, I don't have an X account at the moment. Not that I know of, anyway.
Yeah. But I
One
think
thing,
yours is a native in Grok account.
Yeah,
one thing that was frustrating, I mentioned before that I wanted it to play a Spotify playlist, I have looked in the actual transcript, and I'm not sure if that's showing properly yet. Sorry if this computer's going very slowly. Can anyone see that yet?
No.
No. Let's just. Oh, here we go. Sorry about that. Oh, it went. Here we try again. It says, open Spotify, spotify.com/playlist/37i9. I mean, that is not a link I can use. I could obviously reassemble it manually, but it's not something that's that useful, and certainly not if you're driving. So, that they still need to do a little bit more work. And obviously Grok can't open that in Spotify as I asked it. But anywho, this is the first version, so it's the worst it'll ever be. And it'll just get better from here on in.
John
And
left
it's
a few
also still in
questions
beta
chat.
mode.
So say that again, Pete?
So it's still only in beta mode, test mode. So it's not a full
Oh yeah,
version.
that's right. And it's the same as our proper FSD software. We still have, we almost need to run a number of days since we got the original update or the original FSD supervised, and it's been that same number of days of having no update.
You have to
Well, I
do
guess
that Manchester United fan and don't cut your hair until it's there. Don't know if you saw that. The trouble is, Harold, you and I are going to struggle.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But
There's a very silent protest that for you guys.
Yes.
Just a quick
yes.
one, Harold. With regard to the Model YL, it is an extended wheelbase.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not just an extra bit longer.
No.
It is an extended wheelbase as well. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
taller.
So and hence my statement of you've got like about, well, it's not quite a foot, but you've got a foot back to the wheel arch, so that sorry, the wheel arch is a foot further back, or half a foot further back from the back doors. So which is just like what they did on Fairlanes compared to a Falcon. They sort of they literally have stretched the wheelbase, indeed.
Yeah.
But the track
Sorry,
and the
I
width is the same.
misunderstood you. I thought you were saying you just like added it an overhang at the back.
No, so I believe the legroom in the middle row is about half of the length, extra length, and then the other half is the distance from the middle row to the back of the car. So the whole car's been stretched about 30 centimetres, but the wheelbase has definitely been stretched. Yeah, indeed, it definitely has. And I mean, we should make it a great car. Again, it's not so great for storage because with the captain's chairs you can't have a clean flat surface that you do with the current 5-seater versions. But again, if like Colin wants, if you could retrofit a bench seat in lieu of the captain's chairs, that would be, well, that's certainly a use case for sure. Because everyone wants a bit of extra space, especially if you've got little kids, when you've got prams and strollers and all sorts of catastrophe, and even just luggage for that matter, that can be really useful to have that extra space. Alrighty, anything else?
I've got a question for Mike. Is he going to pull the trigger on a new one with the EAP upgrade?
That's really good, Cameron. That's a segue into my comment. So on Saturday, me and the missus were passing the Tesla in Aussie Park, and I was popping in to see service. I didn't know service wasn't actually open on a Saturday, but there was heaps of people there, all fishing around, going for a test drive. And the chap said, "Do you want to go for a test drive?" So I went, "Oh, okay." So we went in a Model Y Performance because it was the only one left. And it was, unfortunately, being Saturday, it was only like 20 minutes or something, right? you just go round one end of side of Herdsman Lake and then back again, right? Because literally it was chockers. You know, every space was taken. And our booking was like an hour and a half after we went in there, so I went for breakfast. So my wife was with me, and so her comment was the seats are more comfortable because, of course, in the performance they're those nice hugging seats. And she noticed it was quieter, and definitely noticed compared with our 2022-3 with 19-inch wheels, definitely softer over the bumps. You know, if you go over a grid or a gully, you can hear every bump in the older 3, but in this one you could barely hear it. So that was all positive. But the FSD, not so much. In fact, it was highly hazardous. I don't know if those of you know the Aussie Park Tesla store or gallery, but as you leave it, the navigation wanted us to turn right, and I pushed the long, because they had it set up to long press the right scroll wheel to initiate the FSD. So as we stopped at the road, he said, don't put it on in the car park here because it struggles, and we all know that. But as we literally were at the road, I pressed it. And even instead of turning right, it turned left. And it did, I remember your first long drive, it started to go on the other side of the extended traffic light island with the keep left sign. So you know if you approach those keep left signs, turning left, it wants to go on the other side. And fortunately, I was driving. It would have been my wife wouldn't have spotted it as quickly and would have ended up on the other side of the road in Scarborough Eats Road. So that was not good. I mean, I pointed it out to him. He said, oh, shit, we've never seen that before. I said, yeah, well, you know, this is a known thing. You speak to some of your users, right? Yeah. But also I found as it was going along, the steering wheel was really twitchy because I was just, you know, feeling it, shall we say. And it was doing this all the time as it was going along. It wasn't smooth. So, I mean, I know that's the case and that's how it is because you guys have explained enough, you know. But, and then, of course, it decided when it saw the 40 sign for a school zone to slow down relatively quickly because it thought it was a 40 zone, even though it's a school zone. No, my Model 3 picks the school zones every time. Yeah. And doesn't do it on Saturday. So it's obviously still early days, as you said, but it's just interesting experiencing it for yourself. So that was interesting. And then, you know, we like the different colours. Although I didn't realise, I'm sure you guys do, but just in case there's listeners who don't, the Model Y doesn't come in marine blue. It has Harold and Pete's blue. What's it called? Glacier blue.
Yep. That's the standard Model Y,
but comes in the marine blue. But they've got a marine blue in the store there, the Model 3. So it's actually quite nice. I liked it. So I said, oh, I'll get that. And the missus, I don't like blue, so that went out the window. But she likes the red one and the white's okay. So it was a good experience. It wasn't the journey along those roads. I just had it in chill mode, so I couldn't floor it or anything. But yes, it said that ludicrous mode there and all that stuff. So it was just too short. And he said, yeah, you come back any other day and you can take it around for a while. So we'll probably do that. So the answer to your question, Cameron, is no, we probably won't pull the pin.
So just for clarity, the marine blue is available in the Model Y Performance because that comes from Germany. So you can see here that's the marine blue for the Performance. But obviously for the non-performance coming from Shanghai, it turns into a glacier blue.
Yes.
So that's the difference.
Yes. Yeah, so it definitely won't be buying a Performance because we just don't need it and it's a lot of money. So, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall we like the car. I think I'm getting more room in my garage as I'm getting rid of crap. But I'm not going to pull the pin. You know, we'll just have to suffer the the monthly fee, and we'll probably do like we do with our streaming. We'll just use it when we use it.
Yes. So you get a month. So when you pay, that'll on the day you start the subscription, that'll be when you get charged the $149, and then you can cancel at any time, and you'll still get the remainder of the month
Yes.
until the anniversary date. But of course, you could then, if you cancelled, you can then start a new anniversary date, which is the subsequent date sometime in the future where you resubscribe.
Yeah.
So then there'll be a new anniversary date. But like I said, humans, we're just illogical creatures, and I think many more people will balk at the $149 a month than they would at slapping down 10,100 at or near the purchase time of the car. So we'll see what happens.
Exactly. I mean, you just take the situation now. You're a household with an expenditure, and things are a bit tough. You can eliminate that payment from your
Yes.
outgoings, whereas once you've paid it, you can't.
It's a sunk cost. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
So that's going to be the case. But on the other hand, I think a lot more people will try it, and for those, say like myself, I say this with all modesty, who are a skilled driver, it's good as it is, and so in the next version it'll be excellent. Well, excellent's perhaps an exaggeration, but much better probably. But it won't be really ready for the, should we call it, the average and below driver for a little while yet.
Yeah, look, I think we're only one software update away from having it
Probably.
change a lot, especially on the presumption that the next version we get will have a 14 in front of it. So it'll be version 14,
Yes.
which is vastly better. Still, if you look at the YouTube videos from the States or X posts, it still does navigation clangers. It'll openly turn the incorrect way, even though the navigation says turn left, it'll just turn right. And you get some YouTubers that are getting a bit of a rush of blood to their head, and they castigate the car and go, "Oh, you've ruined my video," and bad Tesla and all this sort of stuff, and make a song and dance about it. But yeah, so version 14.3 or 2 or point 0.2 or 0.3 is not yet perfect, but it's vastly better than what we've got in
pretty good.
Australia.
Pretty good.
And you know, most people think they are above average drivers. I mean, that there are probably 80% of people probably think they're above average, but in essence, by definition, only half of them can be. And there's a real bell curve there anyway, so you can't be much above average. But it won't take a lot of effort to get the car to be better than an average driver. And once that happens, it's funny, people bang on about, "Oh, but I love to drive. I can't see myself just not wanting to drive." A bit like there are some people that, in the age of ICE cars, say and claim that they love to have a car with a manual transmission, and they love using a clutch and gears and all that sort of stuff. And it's like, yeah, well, I'll let you sit in a 1 hour traffic jam crawling at 2 k's an hour and see how you love a manual transmission with a heavy clutch. But people will pretend, and they'll just insist that it's just a more rustic way of doing things. But in essence, I think most people will be pretty happy if you were to be provided with a free chauffeur at no cost, where you just sit in a seat that's not the driver's seat and be driven around for free everywhere. There's not that many people that would go, "No, actually, I prefer to drive," especially if you live a busy life and there's other useful things you can do with your time in a car. But and I don't think there's many people that let me see, miss manually washing clothing on a what's that board thing called?
Washboard.
Washboard. Yeah. Or putting your clothes through a wringer and then using wooden pegs to put them out on the line. You know, when you can these days, you know, for decades you can do that automatically. So, and you know, like it's been said many times. Yes, there are still people that like to ride a horse, and you know, 150 years ago, if you were fortunate enough to be able to afford a horse, that was your only means of apart from Shank's pony, the only other way, if you could afford it, was a horse, and maybe a buggy if you were even more fortunate. And yes, even though there might be more horses being ridden today than there were in 1900, there aren't many people doing that anymore. And I
Seen
think
many horses on the freeway, people going to work lately.
What about your
indeed,
billy cart? I'm sure you went to school in a billy cart, didn't you? Yeah, we
No.
go. But Shane's had his hand up for a while.
yes,
So
actually, yeah,
it was
Shane,
a
you
good
got
experience. It was a good experience. I'd recommend, and we'll try another one a bit longer so that we can get a feel for it. But the prime aim was just to get it so my wife and son, who are perhaps a little bit less skilled drivers, it's just not ready for them yet.
Oh no, but actually, the combination of someone supervising the car, and like I said, I mean, you were just fortunate slash unfortunate enough to get all the clangers all at once in a
Yes.
short period of time.
Yes.
You know, there was a small section of, is it Preverly? It's near the mouth of the Margaret River, whatever. And there's a small section of windy road of a certain width. It's not wide, it's not narrow, not super narrow, but it's like this magical, weird sort of width with a solid white line, bendy, and in a space of about 200 meters, the car would just go to the wrong side of the road about 4 times in a row. And it's just the nexus that it has. It's just this weirdness again, which is a day one factor that we knew from day one, which will get eliminated. Once that is, as long as you are paying attention, the car as a system between the supervisor, let's call it, or the driver slash supervisor, and itself is vastly safer. You just look at the way it does merging on the freeway or changing lanes. It sees everything in every direction simultaneously, and unlike humans, where we have to rely on memory and a lot of triangulation, and you know, and when we start making the turn, we have to look ahead because there might be someone slamming their brakes on in front of us, but we don't realize that there's another human in the lane, 2 lanes across, that is coming into the lane we're turning into or merging into or changing into. The car will do that automatically and then just plot a different correction course, which we can't do. So as a system, it is significantly safer. And you know, you can have a severe medical episode, and as long as you can keep your head upright and your eyes open and possibly just dangle your hand on the steering wheel, that car will generally get you safely to a place where you can get some help. And that's going to be a real lifesaver for a lot of people. And not to mention people who, hopefully, if they're lucky enough, live long enough to become elderly. Again, that'll be another life changer. That, you know, we can still use the cars long after we're able to drive them.
Did you see that amazing story on X a few weeks ago? There was a guy whose dad was driving in a car and he
Yep.
had some sort of medical
Yep.
thing, and his son was able to remote log in, change the navigation to the hospital, call the
Yep.
hospital, let them know he was coming, and they said if he'd stopped and waited for an ambulance, he probably wouldn't have made it.
Yep.
It was pretty
Yep.
remarkable just to see
So,
what you could actually do with sort of remote control and
well,
FSD.
that's right, because you can go on your Tesla app, as long as that Tesla is in the account, or you've logged into that account using your phone on the Tesla app, you can navigate to anywhere you like, and then you go send it to the car, and that will then send it. So then all the father had to do was engage autopilot, FSD.
I think he said it was already on FSD and he just changed the nav and it just
Yes, change. Yes,
started
yep. So you
doing
send
it.
a new destination,
Yeah.
and the good thing about that is you're effectively getting a third person to help you out, and for example, research the nearest hospital. Which obviously, if he had Grok and had the wherewithal, you could possibly have said, "Hey, Grok, can you navigate me to the nearest emergency hospital?" Or, yeah, I guess you could. What are the hospitals called? Like, Royal Perth.
Emergency department.
Well, emergency hospital or emergency centre. Alrighty. Anything else?
Can I ask if it's possible that the voice-activated commands later than the travel speed? I'm getting some of the advice or the instructions to turn or not turn, but they're too late.
Yes, that's very common, Carmen. Unfortunately, it can be frustrating, especially if you're not in the correct lane
Yes.
and it says, turn left, well, go take the exit, in now or something, and it's like, gee, like literally 1 or 2 seconds
Right on
later,
it,
you had
yeah.
to have done it. Yeah, sometimes they do come late. It can be quite frustrating, but that's
Is there is it a setting? Would it
no,
perhaps
no,
need
no. There's no, no. I think it might be a mapping issue or something where it's just not telling you something early enough.
Mhm.
Because sometimes you had to have basically optically looked at the map to realize that you're taking an off ramp or something,
Mm.
or sometimes just doing a left-hand turn on a street, but you might be in the middle of or the inner part of 2 lanes, and if you haven't really already set yourself up in the correct lane, you're not going to make that turn because it's
No.
just giving you no notice.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, that happens quite a
Yes.
fair bit, Carmen.
I was wondering, and I thought at first it could be because of all the roadworks, but it's happened on the freeway with no
Yes.
roadworks.
Yep, exactly. No, there's definitely locations where it gives you basically very late information.
Yeah.
And the only way to deal with it is every now and then just look at the actual screen.
Yes.
So make sure you're in the split screen where you've got the map
Yes.
and you and sometimes it can help if you have it unfortunately, Tesla has stopped us from having the ability to adjust the zoom level and have it
Okay.
stay in that one zoom level. So sometimes if you're in the directional one where the map is facing the direction your car is going, which is a more
Yes.
natural, so when it says left, it looks on the left side and all that sort of
Yep.
stuff, that's quite zoomed in. So you don't really get a good overview of what's coming up ahead.
Yes.
To get a slightly better, you can always pinch the map
Mm.
and crush it down
Yes.
to zoom out,
Yes.
but then that zoom doesn't stick very long. So
Yeah.
after a few seconds, it'll revert back to its normal preferred zoom level. But you can then change it to, especially if you are driving in a northerly direction,
Yes.
change
Yeah.
it to the north up,
Yes.
and then that's a slightly zoomed out view.
Yes. Yeah.
Obviously, the overview one, which shows your whole route, that can be too zoomed out depending on how long it is, how long the route is.
Yes.
But yeah,
Yeah.
there are some little niggling things
Yeah.
where there are ways that Tesla could make it slightly easier for you, but they
Yes.
kind of don't because, like I said, they have this new policy of, well, we'll determine what we think is the best zoom level for that kind of map
Yeah.
rendering. So
It's
One
not too
thing I've
bad
noticed,
because
Carmen, one thing I've noticed, and I don't know whether you've picked it up, Harold, is that sometimes it will give you a hint about the lanes you need to be in, but depending on how far away the junction is, it could be 6 or 7 or 8 kilometers away.
Yeah.
So it'll say something like keep in the left lanes in 7 kilometers. And by the time you've done that, you've forgotten about it. And we
Yes.
have picked that up a couple of times.
Mm.
And so you think it's telling you late, but it's expecting you to remember that previous instruction. Is that a fair observation, Harold?
I think it
is.
shows on the top part of the screen.
Sure.
It shows, especially if you're on the freeway and it's got multiple lanes, it'll show things like 2 arrows, 2 dark arrows, and then say 3 light grey arrows, and it's the dark ones that you're supposed to be in. So it might be the rightmost 2 lanes. but that's not always completely accurate. And you're right, it does, and it doesn't. Yeah, if there's a section of road where there's nothing to do, but further along there is something, at some certain point in time, it will show what's relevant for what's coming up next. But you're right, I think what's coming up next could either be several kilometres away, or maybe sometimes only several dozens of meters away. So it can be a bit of a pain.
Mm. The two maps work well, and I do keep an eye on both because
Yep.
sometimes it says to go right and it's left, or vice versa. And but I notice that the smaller directional map is more accurate. So I've tested it on routes that I know where I am.
Yep.
And so every now and again it does it. And I was wondering if I needed to reset the whole car, like whether that did anything.
Not really. I mean, you can reset, you can do a thumb wheel reset. So you press the two thumb wheels down for a few seconds until the screen goes black. And that'll reset your media control unit, so your touchscreen.
Yep.
But I don't really think that'll do anything in this case.
Okay.
It's just, and the maps, it's easy to be frustrated at the mapping. We're in week 9, I guess, 8 or 9, and it's basically a year ago since we got our last. So it might not be a year ago. The map that we currently have in our cars is 2025.8 for the navigation stuff. So again, and I think it was Colin that mentioned this. The Bunbury bypass is a zone of contention because most of it's not mapped properly. Even though it shows correctly on Google Maps, it is kind of hilarious when you're driving along it, and it basically says you've got to take a side road that's going back the other way in the opposite direction, and the blue line kind of keeps going forwards as your car is moving forwards, but it's going in a backwards direction. It just looks really weird, and it's just not very useful or helpful. But hopefully we'll be getting a new navigation data update shortly.
Oh, good.
If we go by this 1 year cadence, which is due about now. So maybe in the next 4 weeks or so, we'll get a new update. Now, to get that update, you have to have your car on Wi-Fi, unfortunately.
Oh, that's okay. I've worked all that out.
Yeah, cool. Excellent.
On the maps, Harold, just briefly, I saw that on, what is that main Australia Tesla group forum thingy? The big one that's worldwide, and there's an Asia Pacific.
TMC.
Yeah. So people were saying there that they've seen job positions for mapping people in Tesla being advertised. So they think they're working on something, whether it's an in-house one or just helping TomTom get this shit together. I think Shane had his hand up though before. I don't know if you're still interested.
Oh, you're right. You're on mute, Shane. Oh, yeah, there you go.
No, I'm just chilling. If you don't mind. So hi to everyone. I haven't been on for quite a while. Few things been happening. I've pretty much moving up to the Midwest. So hello from Kalbarri.
Excellent.
Yeah. So a new chapter in my life. I was going to upload a couple of photos to you, Harold. I went for a walk as I do every day today, or day that I've been here. The EV, the wall charger, and the so the one. How do I upload a photo to you?
Just do it in the chat. Just in the chat. Send a photo.
So the file.
So you can just send a file. Yes.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So I walked there today to the visitors center, and it was quite interesting. Where is it? Pictures.
Oh, you mean where the WAV network charger is?
That's the one. And then you've got that wall charger.
Yes, the Tesla wall connector. Yep.
Yeah, the wall connector. Yeah. So they had a sign up today, which was quite interesting. I'll just about this.
Is it saying do not use, or it's not free, or
it could damage your EV basically? And I saw little like tourists literally wanting to plug in that car. They had a Tesla Model 3, I think it was. I can't find it, but anyway.
I would have ignored the sign and just plugged it in anyway.
Well, looking at the condition of the thing, probably I wouldn't have, to be honest. It's in my download. Sorry.
It is pretty old. It's been there for quite a while.
Yeah, I think you're right, and the amount of spider webs and things in there. So,
Yep.
I'll upload it later anyway. But
Yeah, cool.
yeah. So and anyway, while I was there, I walked over to the EV network charger. Again, there's some photos. I'll throw them on there later. That's working fine. I heard it humming along nicely. It's pristine condition, not damaged. Both A and B, both sides are working. So yeah, just thought I'd let everyone know that's what's happening.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that site did have a couple of issues in the past, but I think it's working okay at the moment, which is good to see.
Yeah, definitely better than I don't know, Halls Creek or somewhere.
Oh, yeah, indeed. Oh, actually, Steve, you're in the room. You've obviously had to run the gauntlet of the Nullarbor in both directions. What were the highlights and lowlights?
Well, as far as the Nullarbor from Balladonia through to, shall we say, Ceduna, the highlight was, well, Balladonia itself with the full off-grid setup. That was 48 kilowatts got for that, and we didn't have to interact with the roadhouse at all. The lowlights,
Yes.
Kaiguna, that was 23 kilowatts sitting there. That's as fast as that got. Norseman, 23 kilowatts. Yes. And it had been going from 43 to 23 for a little while, going from the review on PlugShare, the comments. So while we're talking about that, I actually called ChargeFox and said, not happy. They said, we can't do anything. So I rang Horizon and they said, you're the first person who's logged a fault with this. Oh, okay. So I happened to be charging at 23. I needed to get down to Esperance on the way back. And while I was walking around and came back, there was a Horizon car there and spoke with Brad. Brad helped to install, Horizon worker, helped to install the transformer, the dedicated for the box. And he didn't fix it by the time I left, but he was talking with Dan to find out how to troubleshoot. He called me a couple of days later and said he believes that the problem is what he called a jet charge monitor or module. And
Yeah, it's called Core, and there's no doubt that Jet Charger's Core product has caused more heartache and pain on the WAV network than any other device attached to that network. It's the most oversold, unreliable POS that's ever been brought into being.
Yep.
And
Well, Horizon's doing a warranty claim apparently on that. So I just had a quick look at PlugShare about 10 minutes ago, and somebody's complaining that it's not charging at all. So all outlets are broken. So we'll park Norseman. Cockabiddy was a disappointment. They're still using the AVA/UWA crowd
Delta.
shared
Yep.
Delta. But at least there was a charge. I didn't stop at Majura Pass because the comment said don't try. And
I really
didn't-
wished you'd taken a photo. I need someone to take a photo because for me to go out there and take one myself is going to take 2 days minimum. And that's very long days. Apparently there is a sign that says don't use it. Don't use the DC. And I want to get a photo of it because I need Minister Sanderson. I need to stick it in front of Minister Sanderson. I was going to say something else.
Yeah.
Because it's just not good enough that the owners of that site can basically dictate to the EV community that we don't want, that you're not welcome here, and we request that you do not use this charger.
Yeah, that also applies to the AC charger, according to the comments in PlugShare. So I just bypassed it because we were just driving both directions. I bypassed Mundrabilla because the comments in PlugShare said that you got to fight with the Roadhouse. But I tried it on the way back, and I got 48 kilowatts at Mundrabilla. So I was happy with that on the way back.
Sorry, but was there a sign that said don't use it?
No, there wasn't. That's why I was happy to Mundrabilla to actually plug in and use it, and she worked.
Right, because on PlugShare, there's definitely someone's put in a comment that said that there's a sign. There was apparently a sign on the charger that said "Do not use."
Well, it
not
must
to be
have
used.
dropped off because I was looking for a sign.
Yeah, right.
But there
cool.
wasn't one, so I plugged in and used. So I was happy with that.
And what about Border Village? Did you use
Border
that?
Village, I had a lot of fun with the NRMA app.
Oh, yes,
Um,
that's terrible. Yes.
And also, I didn't pull the plug out hard enough. The plugs to pull them out from the Kempower are really stiff. Really stiff. And I thought that there was some kind of a lock on there. So I rang them up and got nowhere. And then just in a matter of frustration, got pulled it out really hard. Oh, look, it did come out. And I was able to charge. And yes, I got a good rate because it's rated to 70 or 80.
Yep.
Yep. $1.04 per unit. It's the most expensive, but within that, it reduced to 94. So that wasn't too good. Yalata charged there. That was easy. Again, 23 kilowatts or so. But
what about Nullarbor? Sorry, did you try Nullarbor?
Nullarbor? Yeah, Nullarbor. What did I charged there both directions. Just need to bring up PlugShare. Well, my comments are there if you can find it first.
Yeah. You say, February. No,
Yeah.
you don't have a comment at Nullarbor. Oh, no, sorry, my mistake. I didn't zoom in. My bad. Sorry about that. So you said Plug 2A worked after the usual faffing about with the NRMA app, 39 kilowatts.
Yeah.
Which is pretty disappointing because it's supposed to be 80 kilowatts or 75 kilowatts. And then on
It's
your
a
other
Tritium
way,
unit, I think, isn't it?
they're both tritiums. Yeah, there's two tritiums.
Yeah.
And then you said, I don't have you on the more recent one. Sorry, 23rd of February.
Yep.
Was that your only time you used it? Maybe
No,
it
I went
was.
over on about the
Oh, no. There you go.
22nd of
39.
Jan.
So 21st of Jan, you've got just 39 kilowatts, no comment. So yeah,
Okay.
so it's basically
Yeah.
half the rate, but at least it worked.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and the NRMA app is really difficult because what basically happens is I'll just spotlight myself. Spotlight. So when you use it, you've got to click on EV charging. And then what's really painful is it takes forever. You then have to find, well, it will center on where you are.
Sometimes it often had Miller's Point when I was starting it up.
And so if you go either Eucla, well, it's sort of marked over Eucla or Nullarbor, and then you'll get the screens. And then what you do is you've got to basically set yourself up so you're sort of at this stage, and then you plug in, and then you can select one of these will say it's plugged in, and then you have to swipe to say start charge.
Yeah, that's right. It changes from the grey to a blue to say you're connected, and then you know that's the one because it was mislabeled at Nullarbor.
Yes.
1A, 2B, and the other one is 1A and 2B, and I'm going, which one is it?
Yes.
Yeah, so it was fine from Yalata onwards. Sejuna was good. That's a Kempower. Woodner is 150. Kemba 150, Supercharger at Port Augusta. That's much easier.
You can actually use the ChargeFox app to trigger the NRMA locations, but you pay more per kilowatt hour. So it is
Yep.
still worth the faffing around using the NRMA app. But one thing you shouldn't do, because a lot of these are ABB chargers, is don't plug in first and then open the app, because by the time you've faffed around and getting the app sort of almost working, the actual charger will time out. And when you go to then start it, it'll fail. And then you've got to unwind all this stuff. And when you hit back on the map or on the location, it's just
Yeah,
like you
when
say,
you
Steve.
back out of the app because you want to restart it, it takes you all the way back to the beginning. And you have
Yes,
to go EV charging, etc.
yes,
When I was
yes.
at Queanbeyan using the NRMA charger there, I connected up, charged, walked away, came back 30 minutes later, and a couple who had just arrived as I had arrived were still trying to download the app and get it to work.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just it's just such a pain. It'll be something that'll be great once Tesla implements the Charge Pass or something like that, which is whereby Tesla basically bulk enrolls every Tesla owner to all of these services, and you can basically either use the Tesla app or your RFID card for your car to trigger charging sessions at all of the, say, ChargeFox locations
Yeah,
or
all the
Ampol
third-party
locations,
locations.
all the
Yeah,
third-party locations, and
yeah,
bills you directly.
that'd be brilliant.
It will be, yeah, absolutely. Multipass. Thanks, Mike. Yes, I think it is multipass.
It's like
So,
Fifth Element movie.
yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly. And that'll be a great thing. I believe it has started in Europe, but it's something that Australia needs, especially for road trippers, because I mean, everyone by necessity has got a ChargeFox account, and some people have ChargeFox cards, but it would be great just to have one Tesla ecosystem. And look, if it was 1 or 2 cents per kilowatt hour dearer, I'd cop that for the convenience.
Hmm.
In many,
Yeah,
particularly NRMA, because like you say, Steve, it's just a poor experience. It's just the
yeah,
faffing around and the sliding, and again, if you've plugged in too soon, it'll time out, and then you've got to unwind it, and it takes just as you can sit. I mean, obviously, as people know, I like to do short road trips or long road trips in a short amount of time, and there's
yeah,
nothing that burns me more than wasting a whole minute parked there in the heat doing nothing but faffing around with an app.
yeah,
It just blows your
yeah.
mind.
Especially as we've been conditioned with the Tesla superchargers, where you just
Oh,
connect and it happens.
connect and go. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
agreed. So look, while we're in this topic, and I'm not going to go into details yet, but I have sent the committee 2 lines of correspondence that I'm having with my local member and also MLC. So Amber is mentioned in that, and so when you get the time, have a look.
Yeah, cool. I definitely will. Did you send that today, Steve?
Yeah, I sent it actually when I sat down here, so it should be to committee.
Oh, yeah, okay. So it'll.
So one from
Oh,
my
yes, you
local
did
member.
at 7:58.
Yep.
Apologies for not reading it. I've been busy. Yeah, cool. Excellent. Because it's just, like I said, it's really sad. When the WAV network was conceived of, and they made a few improvements, such as doubling the power from 75 kilowatts to 150 kilowatts.
Hmm.
And the way they were talking about maintenance and all that sort of stuff and reliability and all those metrics, it seemed like such a positive project.
Yep.
And the fact that they added the Nullarbor as a, they spent an extra $3 million or whatever it was to add the extra locations east of Norseman on the Nullarbor. It seemed like a real groundbreaking project, worthy of Time Magazine's, what was it? projects of significance or whatever
Yeah,
whatever
or
they called
10
it.
best things in the world or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Top 100 tourist locations to visit globally.
What, the WAV network?
Yes, correct. Yep.
Yeah. So it seemed so great, and it was so full of promise. And I was really, in hindsight, naively confident that it would not be the disaster that the Queensland Electric Superhighway was and still is. But sadly, the Western the Horizon Power part of the project is just a disaster. It's unreliable. I have a lady who is retired, and she wants to do a road trip up to Broome. So I've made phone contact with her because she put an inquiry on our Facebook page, and I'm going to have to basically tell her that you need to fully charge at each location, north of Geraldton, because you just don't know what you're going to find next. And that's really sad. It's sad that in 2026, after dozens of millions of dollars have been spent on state building infrastructure, that it's been so badly executed and continues to be badly executed that it's just not reliable.
Yep.
That you could turn up at Norseman, which is a proper grid, and because of a stupid jet charge piece of module and associated software, that actually in Norseman is literally not required, because Norseman has a strong grid. That some
It's got a solar
smart,
farm just by the BP station. As you're
precisely,
driving in, go, wow.
and battery storage there too.
Yeah.
And there is battery storage there, that some smart aleck, third party provider would rip us all off collectively by providing structurally ineffective and unreliable hardware and software that makes us suffer at random. And I mean, I know we sometimes have fun saying, we're being adventurous. I can't wait for, if you live on the eastern seaboard, or if you live in Perth and drive down south, driving an EV is not adventurous. It's just a normal activity. And that's the way it should be everywhere. And that's the way it is if you live anywhere south of Townsville, actually Cairns, all the way down the eastern seaboard, all the way down to Melbourne and to Adelaide, and Port Augusta for that matter. And in fact, to Ceduna, it's all reliable. You go to WA and you go out of the Southwest Interconnected System, and it is specifically unreliable. It's underpowered. Majura Pass is probably still at 9 kilowatts or 11 kilowatts on the DC charger. Manila turnoff near Exmouth, or the Exmouth turnoff, is still at 20 kilowatts or something, or 19 kilowatts. Kaiguna is still at 20 odd
23.
kilowatts.
Yeah.
And it's going to be like that forever, because no one's going to change it. Mundrabilla, the managers are still hostile to EVs, and that can be turned on or off at any moment. And it's just not good enough. It's just not. Pardue, if a circuit breaker pops, well, you just get told, it's just not working, mate.
So what?
Too bad.
Bad luck. Yeah.
Bad luck. It's just not good enough.
So that's why when I got back, I had started this process before, but I said, right, I'm just going to start agitating because it's not good enough.
Yep. Oh, and something else, coming up on the 26th of April this year is the 3-year anniversary at which the Honourable Chris Bowen promised and spruiked a nation-building 117-site national fast DC highway around Australia.
Did he mention reliable?
No, didn't say reliable, and didn't mention when it would be built, because in WA, I could be wrong, but there's at most about 3 sites being done in WA. In fact, maybe as few as 2. And one of those is starting with M. It's that the wood place, Manjimup, and the other one is Cataby. So, and there might be one or two others in WA and nowhere else. There's nothing meaningful in South Australia except for Border Village and Nullarbor Roadhouse, and we know what they're like. They're unreliable and underpowered. And across the top end, with the exception of Mataranka, Catherine, and
Three-ways?
Adelaide River and Three Ways. Oh, and also in Alice Springs. Though the Alice Springs one is underpowered because it's got a battery backup system that's not working properly. You've got nothing in Queensland. That's in inland Queensland. And it's just disgusting that a federal government can commit dozens upon millions of dollars to a state-based automotive group to spruik this national rollout of significant infrastructure, and for there to be no accountability as to even when it's completed.
And this is our money. This is taxpayers' money that's being spent. And I mean,
Going nowhere.
This is how they're rolling out what is, in essence, it's not rocket science. It's fairly straightforward, proven infrastructure. There's nothing, you're not breaking new ground here. I mean, how is our tax money spent elsewhere?
Quite prolifically.
And and the bad thing is, we've got a diary entry for the club to put out an X post on the anniversary of the 3rd year of 3 years since this project was announced. Of course, we can't even tag in Chris Bowen because he's fled from X because he doesn't like the criticism. And it's like, well, it's just disgusting how any politician can basically, talk the talk, but they don't walk the talk. It's just talk. It's just a promise. It's just an announcement. It's just a map with dots on it, which mean a lot to people that rely on that sort of that infrastructure, and it just doesn't get done. And there's no sense of accountability.
Based on that, expecting it, so they're each individual. If they were relying on that national thing as announced, and then said, "Okay, well, I'll give up ICE, I'll try an EV," and they get screwed.
Exactly. And there's no recourse. There's no accountability. The NRMA is a business, is a for-profit business. So of course it doesn't want to spend money on installing a charger at Barclay Homestead or Camberwell or Timber Creek or Willair or wherever. It doesn't want to do that. They just pick the eyes out of it where the funding is useful and that there's a high usage. They're not interested in building a nation
and their brand visibility.
Well, all it is just a placard to put their advertising.
Yep.
So that's all it is. It's just a billboard. What is it? Moving forward together, or something like that is their slogan.
Well, now they're part of the help company.
Yeah, they're a help company.
Well, it should be help less.
Yeah.
Or help less.
Every time they came on, I'll mute that ad.
It's just disgusting. Like I said, we're being taken for mugs, and it's just not good enough.
No.
Anyway,
sounds like we have to organise an EV ring around the Parliament House.
Yes.
A silent protest.
Yeah. Very silent. We'll have to have our pedestrian warning systems and get the loudspeakers going.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Dear me. All right. Well, we're nearly at the end of the 2 hours of this awesome program. Bearing in mind it's our 250th episode. Any last questions or comments?
Do you want a photo taken of the was it the
Mundrabilla?
Mundrabilla and the others, because I'm going across Well, I'll leave home on the 10th, but be after that sometime, about a week. Do you want
I think it
photos of
was
those?
also Majura Pass you were talking about.
Yeah, Majura Pass. That's what I meant, Steve. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, Majura Pass, I don't think there's a photo saying don't use it. It's just got really crappy speed. Like it's 11 kilowatts from the DC, or 10 or 9 kilowatts from the DC charger, which is just pathetic. It's mainly and like I said, it might not be there anymore, but they're definitely, according to a few people on PlugShare, there was a sign placed on the Mundrabilla tritium charger that says "Do not use," and that's just
Definitely
disgusting.
nothing there with my ChargeFox app and swipe. There was nothing blocking the screens or anything like that. So I'm certain there was no sign when I charged on the way back.
Yeah, cool.
I didn't charge on the way over, but I thought I'd give it a go on the way back.
Well,
I mean,
I'm
I-
not taking the Tesla, unfortunately. It's taking the van, but I can still call in and do that if
Just
you
have a
want.
quick look. Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, it'd be interesting. I mean, yeah, maybe that sign's been taken away or whatever, but or someone's taken it off. I mean, I would always, on principle, ignore any of those signs because this is public infrastructure, and it's not my problem
Yeah.
that whoever has taken the hundreds of thousands of dollars to house this thing, that they have an issue with it. That's not my problem. I'm just a
Well,
member
they've
of the
signed
public.
a power share agreement with Horizon. They should live up to that. They've committed to it.
Exactly.
Maybe
But
if you
as
can
we
pick up a sign, I can put on each one as I drive past it. I think
Public
that would
infrastructure.
maybe make them quite big so they're seen. It would be good to drop them off at each one.
Yes, exactly.
I'd take
Oh.
the rap for it.
Alrighty. Any other last questions or comments?
Harold, when I went to the car wash recently, the car wash menu popped up without me pressing the button.
Oh,
You know, like normally when you go to a car wash, you have to go to service, find the car wash button, but the menu popped up automatically.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So either it did it with geolocation or the cameras. That's
I'll try it
interesting.
again when I go next time.
Yeah, right. I'll have to try that myself. Was that one of those automated car washes where you go through?
Yeah, the Canning Highway, just past the, it's what's it called? Coles Express. Just
Oh,
after
you
the
mean
Canning
in
Highway Bridge.
Applecross? Yes. Yeah. Very good. That's interesting. Yeah, it's a good one, Norm. Yeah, that's cool.
And the other one was I had problems with connectivity not working. And as Mike mentioned, turn off that keep wireless on while driving. That seems to have fixed the problem.
Oh, good. Excellent. Yeah, there can sometimes be a couple of little hiccups or whatever that can be a bit annoying that sort of come and go. But yeah, that's a good tip. Definitely. All right. Any other lasties?
Just oh, sorry, Shane, after you.
Go for it. You're good.
Just a quick one. You're saying about FSD and uses and stuff. One of the great uses of FSD when it's fully sorted to version 14 plus will be when you arrive in a new country and it's the last thing at night and you've got to jump in a hire car and you can just go, take me to somewhere. You haven't got to worry about which side of the road you're driving on, what the traffic's like.
Yep.
You're jet lagged. The car will just do it. You've just got to keep an eye on it. That
Yep.
will make such a massive difference.
Oh, yes. Indeed.
Called a cyber
Absolutely.
cab. It's called a cyber cab.
Called a what? Sorry?
Cybercab.
Yeah.
Cybercar.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, it will be a
but if
cybercab
you've got a hire
eventually.
car and your hire car's a Tesla,
Yes.
that is just a game changer.
Yep. Yeah, I actually do that. I mean, it does cost a fair bit of money, but I do generally try and get a Tesla. And it's great for Europe because you're on the wrong side of the road, the steering wheel's in the wrong, you're sitting in a different position. It takes time to get used to it. And you can make mistakes. And it is quite relaxing, even if it's just basic autopilot, which is nobbled in Europe. But again, that should change hopefully very soon. But yeah,
Well, I did
that is
that
definitely a
just,
killer app.
I did that just a few months ago. I was arrived in Greece and went to get a car, Well, I wanted to get a taxi, but it was going to cost me an absolute fortune, so I got a hire car instead, and didn't even have an automatic. It was a manual.
Yep.
I got a manual. Got a driving on the wrong side of the road. It was jet lagged. I was not in for it, and I got 120k drive.
Was the
Yeah.
fuel tank full?
Fuel tank was full, luckily.
Good, because I picked up one where it was empty, and the first thing was trying to find a fuel station to get some fuel into it at 10 o'clock at night.
Oh, God.
Wow.
Deary me. Shane, you were going to say something.
Just quickly. So yeah, being based here, I'm probably not going to technically be an owner of a Tesla in about 4 or 5 weeks, but I'm going to stay as a TOCWA supporter.
Yep.
I advocate for EVs, Teslas. So anyway, I want my plan to be the first owner to have a Cybertruck in the Midwest, because I'm sick of seeing these 48-volt Prados around. Oh, look at us, we're so technical. Still burning dinosaur bones and stuff. So
Yes.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
Well, my speculative bet was that Tesla would release the Cybertruck for Australian orders or reconfirmation of existing reservations sometime in Q1, which is going to run out in the next 3 weeks or 3 and a bit weeks. So,
yeah.
look, I'm happy to be wrong. A mate of mine was hoping that they might bring it out by the 10th of April, and I'd be more than happy to be wrong by 2 weeks. But who knows?
Yeah.
Hopefully one day, but we just
Yeah.
don't know when.
Like I said, my next chapter in my life hopefully has a Tesla Cybertruck in it.
Yes, yeah. You're not the only one, Shane.
All right. Well, I got to go and find my drone tomorrow. Let's see on the photo there.
Right.
Yes. So Parks and Wildlife are actually really good. I went to the Mean Yarra lookout and didn't realise to look at the full moon setting and then the full sunset coming up. Didn't realise that once it got above the wind shear, it just flew back towards Kalbarri. So I, sort of crash landed it, and it's there somewhere.
No.
So I'm going to do that tomorrow. Got to wake up at 5 and get there before the heat.
All right. Good luck with that. Hopefully you find it.
Thanks, guys.
Alrighty. Pete, how would you round out an awesome show like this as if I didn't already know?
As always, stay safe, stay sustainable. Congratulations on the 250th episode, Harold and TOCWA, and over almost 6 years.
Yes.
And stay ahead of the curve.
And the best way to do that is buy a Tesla, join TOCWA, and ask us anything about accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy and abundance. Have a wonderful week, everyone, and I really do look forward to seeing you on next week's episode of TOCWA's Ask Us Anything. Good night,
Thank you
everyone.
all.
Bye.
No,
Hopefully
well done.
Cheers, guys.